Asian Americans must be more vocal, visible, and take stands on crucial issues. Hopefully, Asians will side with the most dispossessed, oppressed, and marginalized, remembering our own history.
Yuri Kochiyama fought for many people's rights during her Civil Rights Act in the 1960s. She started her activism after she faced injustice from the U.S. government as a Japanese American during World War II. She is best known for her role in the fight for civil rights, Asian American rights, and her involvement in the Harlem Act. Yuri is the founder of the Asian American Action Group, and she has been nominated for a Nobel Prize. Yuri was born and raised in San Pedro, California. Her father had recently just gotten out of surgery and soon after was arrested and detained in a hospital. Kochiyama said he was the only Japanese in the hospital. After her father was taken, Yuri and her family were taken to a concentration camp in Jerome, Arkansas, where they had to stay during the duration of the World War II. All the things that were going on as her father's death and her being in a concentration camp made her realize of the governmental abuses and would forever bond her to those engaged in political struggles. She had also explained how she felt and how the concentration camps were.
Well, we were sent to Santa Anita, which is the largest, had almost 20,000 there, and it's a racetrack. And so most of us were billeted in the horse stalls. And I think at fairgrounds it was the same thing. They had horses too, I guess, so they stayed in, horse stalls too. A lot of the Issei start getting sick because of the horse manure that, you smell and you see there.
She also explained that everyone felt enraged about the racism they had to go through and how they had a barbed wire so they couldn't escape, and she felt her freedom was limited. She had also said that they had to leave their livelihoods behind and positions behind because of an event that wasn't even their fault. Before the start of Yuri's activism, a war was going on, and many Japanese were being discriminated. They were being discriminated by Americans because they were afraid that the Japanese would take their jobs and leave them without money. And since the attack on Pearl Harbor, people were afraid that there were Japanese spies in the United States. That was also the cause of Executive Order 9066. This rule applied to the Japanese only. Executive Order 9066 was issued by President Franklin D. Roosevelt during World War II, forcibly relocating and incarcerating Japanese Americans living on the West Coast, primarily due to the widespread fear of potential sabotage following the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Despite little concrete evidence of such threats, this action was largely driven by racial prejudice and wartime hysteria, resulting in the internment of thousands of Japanese Americans in camps inland from the coast. She and her family were taken to a relocation center where they had a very hard time adjusting, and the camps fed them very little food, and many would get sick due to the conditions of the camp. Her and her family stayed in that camp for 2 years, and the camp was very overpopulated, and they had to keep relocating.
The friendship between my grandma Yuri and Malcolm X is a great example of the power of solidarity and knowing more about your history.
Always had passion for helping people and believing that you had to care about your community. She believed deeply that we had to speak up for our rights if it meant that we had to work in solidarity.
When I grow up, I wanna be just like Yuri, kochiyama. Just like Yuri, kochiyama.
The United States of America is a nation where people are not united because of those three glaring frailties: racism, injustices, and inequities. It is up to all of us to fight this mental and emotional pollution wherever and whenever it is detected.
The legacy I would like to leave is that people try to build bridges and not walls.
Yuri kochiyama.
Yuri Kochiyama valued compassion and the desire to understand people. She was known for her activism and her passion for justice. She had many impacts on the world, including the liberation of Black people, Puerto Rican rights, labor practices, reparations, solidarity, nuclear disarmament, and prisoners of conscience. As you can see, Yuri fought for many people's rights that had many impacts. Yuri also believed that the world could be improved by fighting for what is right. She got a recognition for a Nobel Prize in 2005, where she got nominated for her work against imperialism and racism.